Occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Occupation has got to go. Apartheid states has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Apartheid states has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Apartheid states have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Apartheid states have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Occupation has got to go. Thank you all for being here with us this morning. I want to extend a special thank you to Newland and Don, who are veterans and serve on this small organizing committee. You can give it up for them if you don't have.
للأسف الشديد كل المتضامنين اللي جايين أجانب، مش ولا واحد بجوز فيش اثنين عرب. On college campuses and at Israeli consulates to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people on the 71st anniversary of this catastrophe. I also want to extend a special welcome and thank you to all of our sponsors: American Friends Service Committee, American Muslims for Palestine, Chicago Faith Coalition on Middle East Policy, Jewish Voice for Peace, Chicago Chapter, and the U.S. Palestinian Network. My name is Matthew Vega. I am one of the organizers and a PhD student at the University of Chicago Divinity School. I am the son of a black mother, and as a person of African descent, I stand in solidarity with Palestinians today who remember the Nakba with determination and resilience, and as a person of African ancestry, of people who are kidnapped and displaced and dispossessed of their land, I stand in solidarity with Palestinians who remember the Nakba today, and with resilience and determination appeal to Resolution 194 and demand their right to return to their home. You guys can chant. That's exciting. Thank you. I am the son of a Mexican father. As a Latino, I stand in solidarity with Palestinians who have been othered and dehumanized so much that there is a wall there to remind them of how other they are. And in defiance of the U.S. border and the apartheid law, I stand here to say no más paredes. كل المتضامنين اللي جايين ولا واحد عربي man. I am a Christian. As a Christian, I say with the Apostle Paul that God has made the two groups one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility. I am a human being. As a human being, alongside my Jewish and Muslim family, I stand here to say a Palestinian baby has as much value as a Jewish baby. And let justice roll down like waters, free Gaza, end the occupation. Thank you all so much. Amen. All right. Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. Take it up! These walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. Louder! Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. From Palestine to Mexico, these walls must fall. All right. Why don't you cheer and give it up for Addie, who's going to open us up with a prayer.
Good morning. I've never held one of these before. How am I doing? Can you hear me? Okay. So we're going to begin because we have things to ask forgiveness for, right? As people who might live in this land of North America, let's begin by acknowledging the traditional territories on which we stand right now as we raise our voices. You can close your eyes, you can look up to the sky, you can look at that building as I read this traditional honoring before we pray together. For many thousands of years, the Potawatomi, Peoria, and Miami people have sought to walk gently on this land that we stand on today. They offered assistance to the first European settlers in this land, sharing their knowledge for survival in what was at times a harsh climate. We seek a new relationship with the original peoples of this land, one based in honor and deep respect. Agree? Agree. If you like to pray, if you like to speak to the divine, center your body, and however you do that, bow your head. Again, look at this building. Do whatever makes you comfortable as we speak to the divine. Let us collectively pray. Eternal God of justice, peace, and liberation, great and wonderful are your works. Wondrous are your ways. Thank you for making us different. May we honor that difference as creative and exciting. May we seek to know each other across difference instead of stymieing through assimilation who our collective could be. Remind us today, especially, that lament is a holy practice. Today, as we remember the Nakba, the catastrophe done to Palestinian people who now stretch from Palestine to many lands of the diaspora, we also remember the lessons that you have taught us. That justice values equity over uneven dialogue. That love imagines a new world that is not only possible but on her way. And that reparation is a model for shifting power in the healing process to imagine a new relationship is possible. Forgive our violation of your creation and of each other. We stand as siblings in awe and gratitude for your persistent love for each of your children, who call you by so many names. God of those many names, remind us that our liberation is tied up with one another. That justice for some is justice for no one. And that we choose love as our compass, we choose togetherness as our movement, and we choose life as our motto. Now let us all breathe in, let us all breathe out, knowing that every breath is an act of resistance. Knowing that as we take that breath, we say the name of God. Committing that when we move forward from this space, taking in our everyday breaths, that we will use our life force to seek the liberation of all God's people. Amen?
Amen.
للأسف الشديد هذا يوم النكبة مش جاي ولا عربي مان بجوز اثنين والباقي كلهم أجانب.
Truly appreciate this witness, and our purpose here is to call out on behalf of the Palestinians who have so little voice, and not only the occupation, but to refuse the settler colonialism that continues to come down from the Israeli government as well as from our government. I'd like to ask first Rabbi Grant Rosen to come and say a few words. A dear friend, most of us know him from his work with American Friends Service Committee as a Midwest coordinator, but also as a rabbi at Zedek Synagogue in Evanston, or Chicago, I guess it is, at the Fringe of Evanston, and as the president of the Rabbinic Council of Jewish Voice for Peace, a courageous voice for justice. Let's welcome Grant Rosen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. I just want to say briefly that I am here representing a growing segment of the Jewish community that is finding the courage of its convictions and understanding that there is nothing Jewish about occupation, there is nothing Jewish about dispossession, and in fact, this flies in the face of our own spiritual tradition and our historic legacy. Particularly among young people in our community, folks are rising up and joining groups such as this, an intersectional community that is, and movement that is sweeping the country and the nation, understanding that solidarity is ultimately the most important way to address issues of occupation and dispossession. You'll often hear people defending Zionist and the policies of the state of Israel to say that this is a conflict, and it's very complicated. It's been going on for a long time. And in fact, I'm here to tell you, it's really not that complicated. It's a story that we've heard for centuries. We're not talking about a conflict. We're not talking about two peoples with a compelling claim to the same piece of land, and that all we need to do is find the right kind of negotiation and peace process to divide it up equitably. We are talking about oppression. We are talking about colonialism. We are talking about one side that has dispossessed the people of the land and have been oppressing them for decades ever since. It's very, very simple. It's not that complicated. What is complicated is how we are going to reckon with this reality. The question before us is immensely complicated. We have the courage of our convictions to stand together with other peoples who are struggling against oppression to call the oppressor to account. That's why we're here. If we look around, this might seem like a small gathering on a street corner in Chicago, but in fact, at this moment, we are joined together with other communities across the country and across the world who are sending the very same message, and we need to keep that in mind, that we are not small and that we are not alone, and in fact, we are growing. As a Jew, as a person of conscience, it's my honor to stand together with you, ultimately to look forward to the day that we know is possible and we know can happen in our lifetime. We've seen it happen before. We've seen structures of oppression fall before. We know it's possible. We know this is not some kind of pipe dream that is unrealistic. We know that history stands on our side. So I thank you for being my comrades in this struggle. I am honored to stand together with you and with so many others who are part of this amazing, loving, compassionate movement that is calling for justice in Palestine. Thank you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, hey. Thank you, Rabbi Rosen. And that's a person that doesn't just say it, he lives it. Willing to stand up and even lay his body down to be arrested in protest. Our second person is Paula Roderick, who is an attorney here in Chicago. She represents United Methodist Kairos Response Network. She's part of the Faith Coalition of Chicago and many, many other movements. And well, thank you for all your witness. And speaking now as a Christian person standing for justice in Palestine.
I wanted to say thank you to all of you who are here standing for Palestinians. If you all know this, if you've got your cell phone, tweet hashtag Nakba 71. Tweet hashtag end the occupation. It's an honor to be here with such wonderful people of faith. I started out this morning, as I do with most mornings, in my chair.
They always do their conference there.
Where's the flag?
Yeah.
I started to put the names of Palestinians who have been killed, who have lost their lives.
Yes.
And it is a growing.
That's why Jimmy
So today, as I asked
أزمة الصبح نازلة على الداون تاون ترافيك.
بس هذا واجب وطني
and I just
تصحى
like to
بدري.
pray and to ask our church leaders to not be afraid to say their names, especially the children who are killed. Let this Nakba 71 be a call to action, to engage nonviolent means of resistance to the Israeli occupation, the dehumanizing condition under which Palestinians have lived for 71 years. We know this is in fact an ongoing Nakba. The Nakba didn't happen 71 years ago. It is ongoing. Over 10 years ago, United Methodist for Kairos responded to the cry of Palestinian Christians, for Christians around the world to speak with justice, but to speak up for the rights of Palestinians. So today we pray, especially for the children in Gaza, who are almost half of the 2 million population of Gaza. We recognize that continued military assaults to Gaza, to their infrastructure, including water and sanitation, schools, medical centers, tens of thousands of homes, have made the lives of children in Gaza being robbed of their childhood. It's our fight to give it back to them. We pray especially for the children of the West Bank who are subject to Israeli military detention. They are trying to go to school, to play with their friends, to just be with their family, and they often are detained, arrested by Israeli military. So we pray that our members will be encouraged. This is what we have heard. Put actions behind your words. Prayers are important, I pray. I'm a person of faith, but you need action.